Oye! Trina Christine Mason here. How are you doing this evening? Have you checked in with yourself yet today? Perhaps it's daytime that you're checking in with me. I'm listening. Have you accepted the sorrow that still remains in your heart? Do you remember your cells, your feelings? Perhaps, as Uncle Frank says, perhaps you don't live there anymore. Perhaps you've lived there. There's many theres, I'd imagine, that we wish we were never there. Though I'm sure that we can find a way to say thank you for that very moment. Because there we grew, we had a lesson. Sometimes they were difficult and they left scars, memories for us, little gifts. Please tell me if I start to eat my lipstick. It is a process for all of us, not just being female. Allow me to relax, find my center so I may become a divine channel and transfer you some positive energy. I do have my Penelope here at my feet. Sometimes I keep her close for comfort. If you can trust yourself, if you can trust the moment, please close your eyes. This is a little exercise I like to call pratyahara, also known as withdrawal of the senses. I'm going to ask that you attempt to close your eyes and to no longer take in the language of the eyes. Also attempt to remove, if you will, temporarily disconnect your cells from what you hear if any loud noises go off. Please know that these are what us healers call highlighters. Red flags, yellow flags, all the symbolisms of ancient times. Birds as messengers. So many forget the ancestors. I'm giggling at the mere idea where the story of lipstick really comes from. The symbolism of the healing and all the subconscious imprints that AI would like us to forget. It's pretty fascinating studying. Do you ever laugh at yourself? Studying. Are you paying attention? Are you capable at keeping up with this? I understand there's so much self-hatred and so much difficulty in this universe. I understand there's great denial and great discomfort. Now please, may we please return to ourselves and our centers and attempt this guided meditation. If so, please keep playing. If you're capable, you do have permission to record yourself in this state of pratyahara, in this state of guided meditation, that I am about to lead you inside yourselves, to yourselves, shall you choose to meet yourselves and fully acknowledge and witness yourselves. The first step is to attempt to close your eyes. I will join you in this. Hopefully you will see this as a sign that this is important for you to remember your gratitude for this language of the eyes. Next, please try to attempt to relax your body. It is important for you to be comfortable in your positioning. Notice your position. Now, for those of you who are ready and willing, with your eyes closed, relaxed, let's take a dive deep within. I'm going to ask that you see yourselves as children. For some of you, you may receive blockages and see childhood imprints or cartoons, or childhood symbolism could be certain foods or people or situations. Though please try to find your childhood self and attempt not to recreate a photograph. However, if that is all you have, please, yes, use it as a vessel. However, attempt to just close your eyes and witness your actual child self. Notice how old they are inside you. Then acknowledge the child. Now, is this child screaming? Is it crying? Is it throwing up? What is the behavior? What is the language of the eyes? See if you can get this innocent child to communicate with you, secretly, privately, just you two. Accept the child's feelings. Respect them instead of any other behavior that you may be expressing towards the child. That is your childhood self. Any judgments that are towards the child self, eliminate, allow, authenticate. Allow the child to release its emotional stages. They may be screaming, crying, communicating with others. You can call upon the higher selves of these individuals and bring them here so that you can work out what needs to be understood. This is a safe place to express this language of your emotions, your energy in motion that keeps resurfacing itself, that needs to be addressed in order to heal and feel whole, and to accept the authentic self. Continuously ask the child, is there anything else? Now, those of you who may find yourself in a blockage, I may be able to assist you in a private session or ceremony. Please contact me for more information. For those of you who are ready to move forward and do not have blockages, I'm going to ask you to take your childhood self and to give it permission to do to do what it loved back then, before that might have happened. Remember who you really are. Release who you are not, who you turned into being due to your sensory processing. Recall the feelings, acknowledge them. You have permission to be angry. You have permission to be sad. You have permission to be glad or thankful. Attempt to accept yourself authentically, fully, wholly, as is, without attempting changes to the self or the story that is known of as your life. There may be a lot of trauma buried here, and refusals to behave as the child authentic self. Some may have used to dance or ride bicycles or climb trees or listen to certain things or behave in select motor skills such as reading or writing, drawing, painting, nonverbal communications, perhaps playing in the kitchen with the family, being outside in nature. There are things that brought you joy. Take this child to that safe place that is healing, that it's telling you that it wishes it had. You are the creator of this story. You have the power to nurture yourself and love yourself and accept yourself the way that you may dream. Please allow yourself to cry, scream, kick, express, or go into automatic body posture. This may come naturally. Please also attempt to keep your eyes closed. Recognize your addictions, perhaps to sounds, sights, control, suffering, neglect, abandonment, fear. Now give yourself permission to see your strength and ability to continuously move forward towards your dreams and your goals. Remember who you really are. Now, if you didn't follow the rules, you owe me $100. Just kidding. Unless you want to play that game. Oh, the world. It just seems like a sick joke sometimes. Other times, we can recognize our power in the now, to take charge of our lives and power over our minds, where we can choose each and every seed of thought. We can recognize the shadows that may illuminate our minds, the automatic thoughts that come pre-programmed subconsciously from what we may have been listening to or being surrounded by in our environment or our stimuli. I have compassion for those of you who have made it this far. I have done many releases using this exercise, most of the time individualized. However, today I've attempted to share with you, complimentary or free, for you to attempt to use these tools so you see that you do not need me. Now, another thing that comes to mind is something I call Feng Shui. Fengshui. I'm always laughing at myself, so please excuse me. We are constantly growing, so please accept the uncomfortability. I understand many of you may still be processing what just occurred. If need be, you may pause this at this present time to continue down the journey within yourself, to acknowledge yourself in all the ages, all the stages, all the people, all the chapters. Notice what you wish not to remember and notice the stories you avoid. Notice the stories that are true. Make sure that you really know you and what you really choose for your future self. Because the truth is, you are the one who has control over your future. What you shall allow shall continue. What type of energy are you putting out? Is it fear? Or is it because you really, really love to do what you're doing in every single second? This is an answer only you have within about yourself. No one can give you this answer. I understand that might make you feel uncomfortable or like there's a lot of responsibility. For those of you wondering about Feng Shui, it's where you eliminate the pieces, the items, the material objects that remind you of that chapter, of that story, of that life when you lived there. Sometimes we have to give away these items. Sometimes we have amazing stories why we need to hold on to these things, when really it's just simply best for us to eliminate that story. Not so much eliminate it as much as illuminate it. Where we shed light upon it, we show it love, we say thanks. I learned from you. I thank you, I let you go now. Because other times we can trauma bond, we can recreate this experience over and over and over again, where we same all the time, same habits, same types of personalities, same experiences over and over again. Or hanging out with those who have our identical trauma, our suffering. These people, they can become our family in suffering. And at times it can be an excessively healthy outlet to find these circumstances where someone truly understands what it's like to be you. An artist comes to mind. His name is Scott. He owns the St. Augustine Entertainer. I can't ever teach a lesson without sharing props or acknowledgement, love, and honor to the person who had influenced my thoughts and my character into being the person that I am now. So I always pay homage and spake the name. The way that I love you is by seeing the you inside of me. And the way that I make you love yourself is by showing you how I truthfully see you through my eyes. Give yourself permission to receive love and acceptance from yourself. Attempt to see the beauty that you really are inside. Remember to re-become one with yourself. It is so important for you to remember who you are. Notice if you get sick, agitated, emotional. You do not need a story. You need not change, need not be ashamed or afraid to shout. It is important that you communicate these things with yourself. And yes, close your eyes and serve yourself as you have never been served and honored and acknowledged before. Give yourself permission to have your happiness, your ultimate surrender and joy. Find your pleasure in the moment, in every single moment that you never, ever, ever, ever will get back. The only guarantee is the constant change. We all are presently constantly aging. I understand in this age of technocracy that things are changing. Things are changing. The movies, they always showed us how things would change in the future. Sometimes it just, I'm not sure if that fully authenticates and elaborates that emotion that I have so deeply buried within myself. It's kind of like a secret, this secret little feeling of being able to see and know in this deep, authentic way that can never be authenticated by anyone else and only be acknowledged by myself at truly understanding. Kind of like when you have a dream. No matter how amazing of an artist you are, we will never be able to identically recreate. There are amazing machines at this time that actually do draw out dreams, which I thought was quite fascinating. I also have been studying about how our breath and our heartbeat superiorly regulate our bodies. I have learned of these things that are done to the body that are connected to spinal parese and spinal galant. Or is it spinal gland? I'm still new at learning all these things, though it's quite triggering and alarming when you recognize what's really happening to the body. I always have found it interesting how in school they teach us all these different things, though some of the most important things are not even served to us and gifted to us as amazing little boxes of knowledge, such as how to manage financial means. Why isn't that in the school system if the entire society is regulated on this little piece of paper? Or this symbolism of a chip? Do you not see the bird box? Perhaps some of you are so subconsciously hypnotized and brainwashed from the stimuli that you have taken in. It's hard to see anything with love and positive light. Perhaps the only actions you wish to do is fight and move your body in a space that may be considered the tendon guard. I'm so thankful to my teacher Joy at Casadega. The Touch of the Wilderness, or it's just regular Touch of the Wilderness. Look her up. Quite fascinating, quite intelligent. One of my favorite people I've gotten to work with, and that's actually been able to teach me about the body. There's been so many people that tried to teach me, though with her it actually sticks, perhaps because I see myself as her. And it's amazing to be growing together and be having so many amazing experiences. And especially to be finding people like those who have walked nearly identical paths as me. That's also been quite fascinating. Of course, it's also been alarming experiencing those who just like superiorly don't identify with who I am. And in some levels, it's just reminded me how important it is for me to be me. Because sometimes people are fearful of telling people what to do, like don't hurt animals. And other people will like have no problem saying that. And then others just sit in silence and just watch like horrible things go on around them. And then like when they see them, sometimes they like turn into them. You know what I mean? Instead of actually like stopping them. That's been really scary. Sometimes it's scary being the person that has to do that. When everyone's doing the wrong thing around you and you have to be the one that speaks with your actions. I could never speak about these things and understand if I hadn't been there myself. Now I must have a reminder that it is best for you to be here now, instead of in here all the time, or online, or looking at pictures of the old self. It's so important for you to see your dharma, your duty, your blessings right before you. And what you see, you have magic, if you will, to change subtle vibrations, to plant seeds, and to have intentions, and to move things, and to share things, and to let go of things that others may need, such as a certain energy that you're holding on to. Perhaps you're yearning so badly for true love, though you won't let go of any of the old stories of all the ways you have been burned before. How can you remember me until you remember you? No matter what you do, there will be judgments. It's important that you remain as you. Like, I'm definitely eating lipstick, aren't I? Yeah. How did I know? It's almost like I'm a psychic in Casadega or something. Sometimes I recognize how difficult it is to be yourself. Sometimes it's difficult just to do that, to breathe. Did you know you release a majority of your toxins through your exhalations? Notice the highlighters every day. Sometimes you might be outside and suddenly this symbol or this word or this thing just keeps expressing itself. Notice the signs and the meanings that lay before you. Can you interpret them? Can you understand the highlighters? Can you understand the dreams? Can you understand the meaning of everything? Have you ever asked yourself questions? Or are you afraid of your own answers? Have you ever noticed people that get mad at you just for breathing? Or for having a fearful thought? Notice where your mind wanders. Notice how you torture yourself with your own thoughts. Or are you your own cheerleader in your mind, leading you towards the good, to do good deeds that make you tell great stories about yourself? Can you forgive yourself? Can you give yourself something better? Perhaps by making yourself a meal with your own bare hands, showing your cells, nurturing your feelings with what you're really craving. That style, that dish of love. Give yourself permission to rest your senses, and not just when you are sleeping. Notice if you are programmed by the story of the matrix of having to constantly work. Remember, you have permission to rest. You do not always have to serve others. You can give yourself permission to rest your bones. It doesn't always have to be about money or somebody else. You can make art, you can dance, you can flow, you can sing, you can swim in the river. You can do anything you choose. Remember, remember to have fun and to play. Attempt not to judge yourself and constantly try to change yourself. I wanted to say play with yourself, though to some that are programmed that might not sound appropriate. What I mean is for you to not wait for somebody else to go on this great adventure. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you to do this or to do that. Don't wait for somebody else to do this for you. Break your comfort zone and do something different that you have never done before. Make sure to do your research. There's so many free tools at this time, especially if you're already paying for the internet. Of course. Welcome to the system. Notice how you may be subconsciously connected to torturous thoughts or fearful thoughts or habitual emotions or habitual thought patterns. You do not have to give yourself permission to have those experiences. You can notice them. Perhaps journaling them and documenting them in a safe space for you, where they can be for your eyes only. For you to love yourself in this way. I understand it is not always difficult to be yourself. Other times, I can recognize why you don't like his story. What's your story? When's the last time you used the power of your imagination? What about paying respect to all those who have passed away? Even those that you have horrible, hateful stories to tell. Can you lighten your heart load and give yourself peace and pleasure? Not just sexual pleasure, true happiness right now. Perhaps you can close your eyes and attempt to picture what that is. Notice if they are tools of self-destruction. And this can be relationships. Doesn't have to be a relationship with a person either. Could be with animals, or beverages, or meals, or gym memberships. It's connected to your relationship with yourself. How do you take care of yourself? Which ways do you need to be loved? What do you need? Do you need to go for walks? Do you need your water? What are your routines? What kind of animal are you? How do you like to be dressed? How do you like to be represented? What brings you comfort to your environment? What do you need? What can't you live without? Is it cleanliness? Consistency? I'm like, animals love me. George, 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 oh George, George. This is definitely my healer. Dear future husband, must love George or no Trina. Oh, for a boys. Oh, fair. Did I tell you guys that I totally ordered a rosary from the Wolf's Museum of Mystery? I'll have to show it to you and tell you more of its story and why I picked the piece when it arrives. Bye, George. I'm experiencing these really annoying sugar cravings, and according to my current boss, Tina, there's a lack of electrolytes inside me. So what she does is she gives us and herself these big giant salt rocks. And that's supposed to replenish our electrolytes. And it's been kind of like nearly intoxicating, you can say, to have like the experience of like what actually happens when you consume salt like that. George is like loving and playing with Penelope. I'm playing with him also with my foot. So another thing that comes to mind is the right one versus the one right now. Find your happiness. Recognize your needs. And understand that these will have to be communicated. For sometimes things in a relationship sometimes need to grow instead of abandoning things when it gets really difficult. However, sometimes you might recognize that some of your relationships are what some would call bad addictions. Only you know your boundaries. And only you can really respect your health in your life and choose to live into the future, whatever may come of this world, especially with all these human hybrids. Clear. Well, it looks like I've been spending over 44 minutes of my time with you. And I'm so thankful for you to be allowing me to share with you what I have received, though if you wish to make sure that I receive anything, you do have permission. There is a link below. Thank you so much. I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Please stay in your center and remember who you are. When you find yourself feeling hatred, sadness, or suffering, notice it, acknowledge it, and love yourself in the ways that you need, instead of acting like that's cheesy or being a love avoidant. Perhaps you need to just curl up under the covers and just drink water all day. Flush out your system. Get sunlight, warmth, a nice bath, a great shower, perhaps some hot tea, Thank you so much for listening. If you wish for me to listen to you, please also reach out and send a donation. Perhaps we can work together if you're brave enough, and if you mean what you really say. No talking, but actions. Travagwan. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Aho. Shanti.